Hey, welcome back everyone. Hope you had a fantastic day. Now, in this video, I'm going to share with you something very cool I learned this week, and that is how to back up your workflows using a workflow. I know it sounds like Inception, but it's truly amazing. Let's take a look at this. Now, in the previous video, you might have seen me show this platform n8n. It's a platform where you can build automation tools and incorporate some sort of AI in there as well, because they have these brilliant AI nodes. Now, we've built things like the Circumfusion AI agent, an AI agent that acts like a character from the book. We also have a tech feed, and I have a service health check. Now, it really makes it easy for me just knowing that certain parts of my life is automated. This is really valuable, but what happens if my instance on hosting it goes down? Even though hosting it does backup the work on a weekly basis, and you can have different backup options, but I want that surety. So today I'm going to show you how we can create a workflow that is a backup workflow that will actually back up all the workflows in the n8n instance. And then on a later stage, if something were to happen to your n8n instance and you need to kind of reconstruct these workflows, you can do it from those JSON files. And better yet, we're going to back these up on GitHub. So you know that it's on a separate platform altogether. Now, this sounds absolutely phenomenal. And yes, when I discovered this myself, I thought so as well. Now, I'm not going to show you the full tutorial because there are some brilliant channels out there, which I don't want to steal the light from, that have made these tutorials. So I'm going to, in the description of this video, link 3 videos. One will be how to set up the backup instance, like I'm going to show you now, the automation. The other one would be on how to update n8n in Hostinger in general, so that you have the latest features. And then lastly, just link one of Nate's videos to show you how you can set up a Google account. Now, why am I making this video then if the other ones exist? Well, mine works a bit differently. I have different use cases, and I thought that might be valuable to go over and look at the nodes and see what the data does. And maybe this is something you want to set up for yourself as well. All right, so here's the full workflow in front of us. Now you can see it's set up to work on a scheduled trigger. Now you can manually trigger this once a week or whenever you feel like it, or I've got a scheduled trigger set up, which will kick off every Sunday right now and back up my files. And then whatever your trigger is, you want to connect it to a set fields node. In the set fields node, here we define some sort of global variable, in this case, a folder name. We just state folder name, and then for the value, we have backup, and then underscore, and then this nice expression, which will give us today's date. So this will be the result right here, right? So now we've got this global backup and the date variable, which is going to be our folder name. So we've got that ready in this node. Now we move on to this very special node. So if you have a look at the nodes that's available, you have these n8n nodes. Now the n8n node gives you access to the n8n API. Actually, this service API, so you can interact with the data on it, which is pretty cool. And so for your next node here, you're going to search for the Get Many Workflows node. Now, if I open this up, you can see that all you need to do is set up an account, right? It's going to grab the resource workflows. Now, it works like any account set up in n8n, right? You create new credential, and then you start by filling in the details, usually an API key and some sort of endpoint. Now, your endpoint will be what is here at the top of your URL. Now, you can't see mine, but you will see that yours will be in the URL, and it has this .cloud. It ends here with the .cloud. So you just need to replace everything up into the .cloud and keep the API v1. For the API key, what you'll need to do is you'll need to go to your profile over there. So click on settings, head over to n8n API, and then simply just create a new key and then give it a name and create it. And that's how you get your key that you'll be adding here in your credentials. So once you have your credentials, now you're all set. You can now execute this flow, and let's see what data we get back. So when we execute this step, you can see we get back an array of objects. Each object here represents a workflow that we've created, the ones that's archived and non-archived. So here you can see I tried to create a YouTube tool and I archived it. I didn't want to create it anymore and decided to do it on a later basis. But it still returns this too. Now, when we back up things, this is what's unique to my workflow is I exclude the archived files because I don't want to back up things that I archived. Now, anyway, we'll get to that later on. But as we can see, if I collapse all the objects, we have 7 workflows in total. So we're going to have 7 items now here that you can have a look at if we zoom in from this node going into our loop, 7 items. So yes, the next step, of course, is a loop because we want to loop over each one of these items and do some stuff so that we can go and now save the data. But we first need to convert this data, which you'll see happen right now. Pay close attention to how I've named these nodes because when we get to the expressions, the JavaScript expressions, it's important because you'll see reference to these nodes in the later nodes going forward. Now, like I said, you create a loop. We're going to loop over each item. And in the loop, we just set the batch size to 1. Okay. So the first thing that I want to do, and this is now the filter archived, right? I spoke about the archive variable that you saw on the data. Now I've put in a small if statement just to go and check. So the first thing I check is if the JSON archive data from that item is false. And if it is false, right, then we actually want to proceed and go and prepare the data so that we can go and store it. If it's not, if it's false, we're just going to return it through the loop so we can continue looking at the other items as well. But we're not going to choose or pick that item to go and be saved. Now let's take a look at what happens when we do have an item that's not archived and we want to prepare the content. Okay, so here for the preparing the content, it's just a set field attribute. Again, we kind of doing some sort of manual mapping here. Okay, and the mapping that we need from this is we're going to create a variable called nodes, and then we're going to JSON stringify all the content of this item. Okay, so we use normal JavaScript notation here, JSON stringify. We put in all the content, and this here is just to format it very nicely. Okay, then we also add another variable, file name, and for this we're just going to grab that name and append .json here at the end. All right, so this is the set fields node. Now we can't just store JSON data, so we need to convert it to a file. So you're going to create or add a node to convert to file. And then inside of this node, basically, you're going to just specify what you want the output name to be. We're just going to say data and what data it should take. It will be the nodes over there. This will be our JSON. And then at the bottom here, you can add a file name, what we want to call this file. Now here you can see the file that it created. If we execute this, it actually goes and creates the file circumfusion AI agent workflow. And remember, it doesn't pick the YouTube tool because that's now the archived one. So it took the next best one, which is not archived. In this case, the circumfusion AI workflow. All right, now that we have the file, we can actually finally go ahead and store this on GitHub. Now, if you go to your nodes, available nodes, and you type in Git, you can see GitHub is here, and there's many different nodes that you can pick from. We will be using the create a file. Now, before we do this, we need to have a repo for this file to be stored on, and we also need to have a credential set up. So I'm going to show you how we can do that right now. Now, over at GitHub, I'm using a brand new GitHub account. This is what I'm using for my tutorials. And here I'm going to create a new repository. For example, we're going to say backup n8n maybe, and this one is available for me to use. The repository, we can set the visibility to private. And then also for the README, I'm just going to add a README so it does create a README. And then go ahead and create the repository. We have a place where we can commit and push the data, the JSON files to. So now we have this set up. Now back in n8n, if we open the create a file node, I just quickly want to show you what we need to set this up. Firstly, we're going to get the input as a file. And now we're going to want to commit this. But in order to do so, we need to set up a GitHub account. Now I have one for my personal, but I'm going to create a new credential right now. That's going to be for the repo that we just set up. Now you can see we're going to need an access token, a user and access token. So where we get that is if we go back to GitHub and we go and open our profile. Firstly, this will be your username. So you can copy that so long, and we can go back. We can put the username there. Then let's go ahead and go to profile or settings. We can go to settings. We can go to developer settings. And then in here, you can go and create a classic token, create new token, classic, give the token a name, maybe n8n, backup. And then you can set the expiration date. Now, it's always safe to set an expiration date and just remind yourself to extend it. For now, we'll just do 60 days. The permissions I want to give it is for all the repos. Now, be careful with this. You know, this is a sensitive token. If you have many different repos on your GitHub account that's sensitive, you need to make sure that you keep this key very secure. Okay. So that's all the permission we need. I'm going to create the token. Now that I have the token, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to go back to my workflow, paste the access token, and then say save. Now it's going to do some checks and it seems to be okay with it. And now I've got my GitHub account 2 set up. All right, now for the rest of the details here on repository owner, we can put the username. And then on the repository name, we can actually go from list, because if we set the credentials up correctly, it should be able to pick it up. And there we go. It picked up the backup n8n repo. Now the next few lines that you can add looks a bit complex, but don't be intimidated. Remember that I said you must remember what these names are called of the nodes. It's just because it references some of these names in this section over here. It's quite straightforward. Here in the file path, it just specifies what file we're going to store. So we use some JavaScript notation and these expressions to say from the edit fields, we want the item JSON folder name, /, we're going to the prep content, and then we're going to look for the file name. So we're going to have the folder and then file, right? As you can see there, backup, the date, and then the file name. And then for the commit message, I just put the date and then kind of what file is being saved over here. And simple as that. That is now all set up. Now, what happens if there's an error, right? So if there's an error, we want to have some action take place, or we can just leave it. That's why I left Nate's video in this description as well. So you can see how to set up the Google account to send an email to yourself. So you can just be notified on which item did fail, right? Now you can just set it up like that. In the first video tutorial that I watched when I set this up, you will see that the content creator there, he actually went and put an Excel sheet up so that you can store all your errors there. Now you shouldn't really get errors unless you're going to run this multiple times a day, because the commit messages would be, or the content would be the same, right? However, just talking about the loops, remember we loop here back on the if statement. If it's false, we go back through the loop so it can run it again. Once we have a successful commit, we're going to loop back so it can do the other files as well. And of course, when we do have an error, we don't just want to stop our flow, because there might be other workflows to save as well. We still need to go back through to the loop. Now, this is it. Let's go ahead and run it and see if our workflows now can be committed to this backup n8n repo that we just set up. So instead of waiting for the timer to kick off, I'm just going to click on execute flow. And as it's executing, we can see GitHub is working, and it got 4 successful commits. So that means that if we go back here and just refresh the page, we should see that there we go. Here's our commit. And in this folder, we should see all of the workflows that was backed up. And what's even cool is that it backs up itself. It backs up the backup workflow too. So every week you can then expect a new folder to appear with your latest updates. And I think it's a wonderful way to back up and get that surety that I talked about in the beginning of this video. Yes, hosting and various platforms that you decide to host n8n on, they do have backups, but this is a way to take things into your own hands as well and just store the data separately. And it also is fun to do because now you have another automation that just takes care of things by itself. So I would really hope that you enjoyed this video and this little tutorial, or I would say guide, not really an implementation tutorial, but I do hope that it helped you and opened your eyes to more things that you can do with n8n. I am enjoying n8n really a lot, and I'm going to try and make more workflows and share them with you here on my channel. So till next time, cheers for now.